remembering that the class I'm celebrating consists of over 500 people, nearly 530 people. The great bulk of them are within the class of Ot 3 in what we call the day school, but there are 150 weekend college students graduating among you, 32. I have a speech later to make about cheering graduates, but I didn't think I would have to make it to the graduates themselves. 32 of you are from the Rochester program. 38, yes, again we should say yes, right. 38 of you are graduate students, and one, and that will make for a light applause, I imagine, is graduating as the first student from our program at the United Hospital. There is a fair amount of diversity among you. Some of you are 60 years of age, and I'm not telling you who. That's a fairly young age from my point of view. And some of you, I'm told, are as young as 22. And there's quite a long stream of continuity in that range of age. There is one who exemplifies perseverance. Catherine Miller, an elementary education major, started in the day program in 1972. I have met her. She is not a slow learner. You come from across the nation, and 21 of you come from outside the nation, and your homes of origin are represented in this array of flags behind us here on the program, or on the platform. 12 of you are graduating with distinction, 17 with departmental honors, including the son of today's commencement speakers, and 13 of you are honors program graduates. You have been host to some of the nation's preeminent speakers on issues ranging from religion to the environment to world politics. Among them were Richard Hughes from the Pepperdine Center of Faith and Learning, Julia Butterfly Hill, a poet, writer, and activist, Prince Saied Diamini, grandson of Nobel Peace Prize laureate Nelson Mandela. And you've heard many remarkable people on the convocation theme for this year alone, truth, reconciliation, and forgiveness. This has also been the 25th anniversary year of our American Indian Student Services Program, perhaps the oldest and longest running program of its kind in the nation. And we salute both those who have dedicated their time to its success as well as those of you who have benefited as students both in this graduating class and in earlier classes. At least a dozen of you have been honored for academic achievements on the regional and national level, led by Alexa Halford in physics, who was the only undergraduate selected nationally for the Outstanding Student Paper Award in the American Geophysical Union meeting in Washington, D.C. 165 of you completed independent studies or internships, and more than 100 of you studied overseas, taking advantage of multiple programs available to Augsburg students. 8 of you are McNair Scholars, selected in honor of the memory of NASA mission specialist Ronald McNair, the African-American who was aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger when it exploded in 1986. The McNair Scholars program is dedicated to achievement inspired by Dr. McNair's life, and it helps prepare students from traditionally unrepresented segments of society for doctoral studies through research and other scholarly activities. Congratulations to you all. You have brought great and remarkable fame and zip to the reputation of Augsburg College. Thanks for all you've done. To kind of punctuate the achievements that you've made, we'd like to present here the Marina Christensen Justice Award. And I wonder, Paul Peterson, whether you would make your way up here as I read a few things about you. First of all, Marina Christensen was one of the daughters of Bernard Christensen and Gracia Christensen, who was the longest-serving president of this college. And Marina was a frontiersman, if you will, in the west side of Chicago, and was engaged deeply in community service development activities there when she was mugged and killed probably now 10 years or more ago. And we have celebrated her achievement by virtue of this award ever since. And this year's winner is Paul Peterson, an urban studies major. Over the course of his Augsburg career, he has carried out a wide range of activities. Internships with both the Lindale Neighborhood Association and the Higher Education Consortium of Urban Affairs Metro Urban Studies program. He has been an active member of the Minnesota Public Interest Research Group and the Coalition for Student Activism. He spent the past spring break on a Lilly Community Development and Civil Service exploration trip to Washington, D.C. that was funded by a grant that we've received in behalf of vocation from the Lilly Foundation. A faculty letter of nomination stated of Paul that he represents the kind of commitments to social and community building that Marina lived for. I want to echo that through Paul, Augsburg's motto and the ideal that Marina Christensen Justice stood for lives on. Congratulations, Paul. Have you made your way forward? We have one more thing to do. Hang on. I'd like to introduce to you the commencement speakers for this year. I say speakers because these two people have remarkable careers and they run them simultaneously and at great speed, and it seems to me they might be able to tell us a few things about how to conduct their lives in this kind of a world under the dispensation that we call vocationalism. They happen to be the parents of a graduating senior, but they have much to say in their own right, and so let me introduce them to you one at a time. Ms. Laurie Duncan Mccarthy is the owner and president of an elder care management company called Choices for Aging, and its affiliated daily money management company, Paperwork Solutions for Seniors. She founded this company in 1991 when she saw a need for assistance by older adults struggling to remain in their homes or deal with a care crisis. Prior to her life as an entrepreneur, she ran a rehabilitation agency for nursing homes. She's a graduate of DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana, earned her master's degree in healthcare administration from George Washington University in Washington, D.C. In addition to her healthcare background, she is a certified public accountant specializing in long-term care counseling and retirement planning, but you're not going to hear much of the stereotypical speech of a CPA. Community service has been an important part of Laurie McCarthy's life. She has been highly involved in school PTAs and Boy Scouts and church activities. She also has served on the boards of directors for a low-income retirement community, a home for women in recovery, and the Arlington Street People's Assistance Network. John McCarthy is Chief National Security and Pentagon Correspondent for ABC News Washington Bureau and has been a correspondent with ABC News since 1979. He reports on military and diplomatic aspects of U.S. foreign policy and has been among ABC's primary reporters on the current Middle East conflict. In fact, he just arrived home from Baghdad earlier this week. On other assignments over the years, he has spent a good deal of time in Kosovo, the Persian Gulf, has witnessed the changes in Eastern Europe of recent time and in North and South Korea, and has watched over the India-Pakistan conflict. He has traveled to more than 50 countries and was ABC News' primary correspondent, covering Secretaries of State Warren Christopher, James Baker, and George Schultz. For his reporting, he has received 5 Emmy Awards, the Alfred I. DuPont Columbia Award, and the Overseas Press Club Award. Like his wife, he is a graduate of DePaul University and earned his master's degree from Columbia University's Pulitzer School of Journalism. He has traveled within the last 10 days 16,000 miles with the Secretary of the Defense, Mr. Rumsfeld. John and Laurie Mccarthy have lived in Washington, D.C. since 1970 and have 2 sons, Ian, a sophomore at Fordham University, and Adam, who graduates here today from Augsburg. Please join me in welcoming Laurie, Duncan Mccarthy, and John Mccarthy.
It is great to have this opportunity to congratulate you all on your graduation ceremony. What you've achieved is significant. I know you're pleased, excited, and probably a bit apprehensive about the next step. Before proceeding further, however, I'd like to speak to the parents and family members in the audience. Some of you are part of a long Augsburg tradition, and this has been your family's collegiate home for decades. Other folks may be watching the first person in your family to graduate from college. Whether you knew for certainty that this day would come, or you are sitting there completely astonished that your loved one has finally made it, this is a glorious moment. So here and now, I would like us all to thank the family members and the tuition payers with a round of applause for helping the cause. As with most people, my college time was critical to me, and every day I see how it shaped who I am. In fact, it is so vivid, I occasionally have what I call my college dream. Somehow in this dream, I really didn't graduate. Yeah, maybe walked, but didn't graduate. No. But as with most dreams, the circumstances are perplexing, and I go back to college. I either will have the dream where I get an amazing apartment and I go to a lot of parties and have fun, or it'll be the dream where I can't find my dorm room and I've forgotten to bring the tuition check. Other than being strange, as most dreams are, I'm always surprised at how real it seems. I'm easily taken back to those expectations and fears of entering college, and to the joy and probably terror of graduating. Both sentiments have roots in the unpredictability of the future. And since none of us can predict the future, how do we manage these transitions? Unfortunately, I don't have any magic words or easy answers. What I do know is each of you will progress in a way that's perfect for you. Clearly, you are embarking on the next stage of your very interesting life, no one else's. So if I don't have any ready answers, why are my husband and I here to talk about Augsburg? The reason is we have come to embrace the school is because of its distinctive character and place in higher education. The route our son Adam took to Augsburg was probably different than most. I believe Augsburg found our son rather than the other way around. When his college search began, my mother instincts kicked into high gear, and this may sound familiar to a few mothers and fathers out there. I was the one who purchased the college guides. I did the research. I made charts on Excel. We reviewed the options. I arranged the college tours, and I exhorted him to write his college essay before entering his senior year in high school. He got into college, several colleges, and chose a Quaker school in North Carolina. Our son's freshman year stopped in mid-November when he entered Hazelden Center for Youth and Families and its treatment program for chemical dependency. Eventually, that path led right here to Augsburg. What appeared to be the absolute worst thing that could happen to our family became a redemptive, transforming experience. Adam's fight, his hard work, his survival over adversity, maintaining his sobriety has been a gift to us. It's not the pathway I would have chosen, but it's a gift without measure, and I thank him for that. I mention all of this because Augsburg has been a vital part of our son's success. When he withdrew from his first college, we did not dare believe there would be a place like Augsburg and Step Up. For those of you who don't know, Step Up is a residential program for young people who have maintained their sobriety and participated in a recovery program for 6 months. There is no fooling around in this program. If you don't maintain your sobriety, your grades, and acceptable behavior, you are out of Step Up and out of Augsburg. However, once students enter Step Up, the matriculation rate is very high. The program is only one of 3 in the entire country in colleges, and is so strong it's now serving as a model for other academic settings. As I've learned about Augsburg, I found that Step Up is only one part of this very remarkable school. As I've told Dr. Frame and others, Augsburg is a gem. It has a position and personality I've not seen elsewhere. For starters, it has a faculty that wants to teach and to be very involved with their students. Who would have thought such a small school would have the weekend college or the class program to help students with disabilities? How did Augsburg get so involved in Minneapolis urban life and develop so many internships for its students? What is it that permeates the teaching, the activities, the college programs, and all other things that sets Augsburg apart? As I've talked to the faculty, administrators, and to the students, I've concluded that Augsburg's distinction comes from its commitment to service and to its values based on the best of Christian principles. As Augsburg students, you have learned that there is the important life beyond the classroom or library carrel. You know there are other interests in the world besides the ones that directly affect you. This awareness is the strong foundation upon which you, the new graduates, have built your academic achievements. So what does this all mean for you, those of you who come to graduation from very different circumstances? You know that you have worked hard and accomplished a great deal in finishing the curriculum. You've gotten to know the teaching staff and you've held your own in their classrooms. If you've done an internship, you have a stronger vision of your career potential. And if you have been of service to others while in college, you are well on your way to becoming an adult, I would like to know. Although I attended a college that did not have this service component, I was lucky enough to be a child of the 60s. And while arguing with my father passionately, I maintained that or my generation, would change the world. Obviously, changing the world is hard, and effecting such change means more than singing "All You Need Is Love." And as you can clearly tell, I have retired from being a hippie. But I do feel that I've made a substantial contribution in my little corner of the globe. I'd like to say I'm just as idealistic as I was when I was a new graduate. You, each of you, is lucky because Augsburg has given you that foundation early no matter what path you choose. If you become an accountant or an attorney, become the most ethical one you can be. If you invest in convenience stores, treat all your customers with respect and fairness. If you become a parent, strive to be the most loving, humble, and wise parent you can be. Clearly, what I'm suggesting is it's not what you do, but how you do it. Augsburg has been your place to learn how to, and you are well prepared for life because you were schooled here. As a final note, I wish to thank and bless the student, staff, and administrators who are part of Step Up. Starting with Don Warren, the founder of the program, to the current staff and participants, your unrelenting vision and energy are making a critical difference in people's lives. Thank you from Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for giving our son a safe, supportive, challenging, and demanding place to return to college. Thank you to Augsburg.
She's the serious half of the family. I'm the comic relief. I'm not sure you'll remember many of the specifics of this day. You certainly will note it for one important reason. Yesterday you were a student. Tomorrow you're a graduate. It's an amazing distinction. You should be enormously proud. Today you're a graduate. God danced the day you were born, I'm sure. God is dancing today as you graduate. How many of you remember your first days on this campus? Anybody remember their first days? Raise your hand. A little bit of awkwardness, a little bit of terror. Maybe you had a father like I did who insisted after the president of the university did his opening remarks that we had to go meet him. And then we had to go meet my advisor, who I didn't know and didn't want to meet. It was a terribly hot day, and I was very uncomfortable. And after doing this a whole bunch of times, my mother finally intervened. Thank God for mothers. We went back to their motel room, and she suggested maybe you should take a shower, relax, cool off. I did. I climbed in the shower, slipped and fell, tore the shower curtain down, pulled the bar out of the wall. There's a cascade of plaster onto me. I cut my head, I banged my knee. I begged my parents to leave. And I was launched. I was a college student. Now, my memory of graduation is a little vaguer, a bit more vague. I am an English major. I do remember three important things. It was very hot. I wanted to get out of there just as fast as I could, and there was a gray-haired white guy talking to me about how lucky I was. And that the best years of my life were ahead of me, and yada, yada, on and on. Well, it's probably true the best years were ahead, given my academic record at that time. It's not hard to go uphill. And perhaps the only person happier to see me leave the campus was, other than my parents, was the college president. I was editor of the newspaper, and I had a few things to say over the course of the years about the way the university was run. So he was... What I needed from that graduation speaker was a little more levity. And because of that, I made some decisions about what I ought to say to you. Probably 20 minutes after you walk out of here, you will have forgotten any profound thoughts that any of us might have been able to deliver to you. But my hope is that 20 years from now, maybe your kids will say to you, "What was graduation like?" And you can say, "Well, I laughed. It was a happy day," and that's the most important thing. So I offer you a few little tips in the spirit of that conclusion. I'll share some of these very important, profound thoughts, and there's about 8 of them. And one of them is, number 1, and these are rules to live your life by: never trust a dog to guard your lunch. Number 2, and this is for those of you who are math challenged, as I am, and it turns out President Frame is as well. You don't need to balance your checkbook, but every now and then you do need to check your balance. Number 3, never confuse your career with your life. It's just like a parent to slip in between the funny lines the most perhaps important message that I will deliver to you. Don't confuse your career with your life. They're not the same. Never hold a cat and use a dustbuster at the same time. Number 5, floss your teeth. You may not care now, but sooner or later you're going to lose them, so this might... Number 6, do not lick steak knives, even though the... Stretch and meditate every morning. Now this is something that I've never done, but Laurie does, and she's clearly more at peace with herself than I am. So. And number 8, and I'm sorry, this is advice for the male part of the audience. When a woman you love asks, "How does my hair look?" the answer must be, "It looks terrific, and you better sound like you mean it." Now this brings us to the subject of honesty. And those things called little white lies. Not that you've ever encountered any here at Augsburg. You remember those course descriptions, little white lies? It's part of our culture, it's part of our advertising, and the best operational definition of little white lies that I have ever heard was offered to us by the mother of President Jimmy Carter. This is a woman named Miss Lillian. She was a formidable woman by anyone's standards. A female reporter had been waiting a long time to get an interview with Miss Lillian, and finally that magic moment came. And the reporter asked her, "Did President Carter, when he was a young man, ever lie?" And she thought about this, and she said, "Well, he may have said a few little white lies." And the reporter thought, "Aha, I have a scoop here." She moved in for the kill. "Well, what do you mean by little white lies?" And Miss Lillian, while holding a thin smile, said, "Little white lies, dear? Well, do you remember when you first came in the room and I told you how glad I was to see you?" And do you remember how I said how slim you looked? She was a woman who spoke her mind. So you're about to take this amazing journey called the rest of your life. Whatever you do, make a difference. You don't have to win a Nobel Peace Prize to have an impact. If you help someone else, you will help yourself. It's so simple. It's all right. In fact, it's wonderful to have a passion for your job, but separate your job from your life. I'm one who has had a job that is very demanding and have been gone a lot, but I have tried very hard to separate those important parts of my life, the job which takes me away from home a huge amount of time, and still pay attention to my kids and my wife. So what relevance could all these classes that you have so arduously labored over have to you in the years ahead. You cannot imagine how relevant the building blocks and knowledge that you have gained here and the experiences that you have gained here will be in the rest of your life. What you have learned at Augsburg may not be the answers, but you have gotten the tools to start asking the right questions, and that is critical. I could not have known how my comparative religion course would prepare me to go to places like Yugoslavia when it was falling apart and to better understand what was happening there when they went to war with each other. I never could have imagined that my African history course would have helped me to understand what was happening in Mogadishu, Somalia, when there was famine and war, and it drew 20,000 American troops there, and I followed them. I first stepped off that transport plane, greeted by a blast of African heat and dust, and within minutes there was gunfire, and I wondered, not for the first time, what am I doing here? I must admit no class prepared me to view the ravages of war. When I was in college, I protested the war in Vietnam. One of the things I did outside the classroom, an extracurricular activity. How could I have known that I would spend most of my life trying to understand America's wars and covering America's wars? I've learned to respect the military, but I've also learned to challenge the government, to challenge the assumptions that our government makes when it goes to war and when young people's lives are put on the line. In college, I learned to ask the question, why? To challenge authority, and when it seemed to make no sense, and to ask impertinent questions. It is, in my view, the most powerful word in the English language, why. It's the driving force behind good journalism. It's the driving force behind inspirational teachers, behind honest politicians, and good parents. Don't stop asking why. It's critical. And when things seem to be going badly, try humor. As you can see, I like humor. It's the salve for pain. It's the relief from fear. It's a spiritual vitamin pill. And humor is a moment of relief that almost rivals sex. But it's much less complicated, and you can do it in public. I'm sorry, Laurie. You got to have a sense of humor about things. I distinctly remember being under fire in Sarajevo at the front lines, and there were all these shells coming down around me, and I put my face in the mud when all this gunfire was going on, and I kept thinking, Laurie is going to kill me if I get killed. And I said it out loud, and I started laughing, and the guy next to me thought I had lost my mind, of course, because we were both very frightened. It makes me appreciate this country every time I come back here, our democracy, our free press, and our sense of humor. Only in America do you order a double cheeseburger, fries, and a Diet Coke. Only in America can a pizza arrive at your house faster than an ambulance. The little story about Laurie wanting to kill me brings me to relationships. She's wanted to kill me many times. Some of you will marry, some of you won't. I hope that you will all have a chance to love. Nothing that I have achieved in my life is more important than the 3 decades of marriage to Laurie and my life partner, my best friend, my wife, and my 2 kids. College definitely did not prepare me for this woman. It didn't prepare me for having children. I can't imagine a course that really could have. As you've already heard, Adam took a unique path to arrive here at Augsburg, and I am deeply grateful to Step Up, the miracle of Step Up, and the College of Augsburg for saving my son's life. To him and his remarkable fiancée, who's going to speak to you in just a moment, another formidable woman, and all the rest of you, I cannot offer you any higher praise than great congratulations for what you have achieved. And I'm going to leave you with a closing word, and this I discovered is from someone who, the younger of you don't know who this is, Art Buchwald, but he's a humorist. And my parting shot to you would be, we're leaving you a perfect world, don't screw it up.
Thank you both indeed for rendering a great service to this college by coming to address us and to bring all of those remarkable insights about us to us. It's a kind of demonstration of service. And Anne Frame will be glad to know that I have resisted the temptation to wade into the subject of the comparative complexity of humor and sex. Let us now join together in a hymn which is printed in your program. Please be seated. We've made a tradition out of hearing from some of you for limited moments. You'll notice that last remark. And I want to invite now three of you forward. Jean Gunderson, who will be speaking for the graduate students here and presumably to them. Sarah Heberkorn from the day school, and Christine Crabtree, whom you heard referred to a moment ago, for the weekend college students. And I wonder if they wouldn't just follow one another in that order. Jean first, Sarah, and Kristen. You can come now. And perhaps we should do something to welcome Jean. She's taken this long trip.
Good afternoon. I would like to begin by thanking the Augsburg College president, the dean, and the Board of Regents. More so, I stand humbly in an honor before you to profoundly acknowledge and thank my family and my peers and the graduate school faculty of nursing. The gifts of this college have been in its educators and the development of transcultural curriculum, which articulates theory within context of cultural stories, human meaning, caring, healing relationships, aesthetic ways of knowing, and the intimate connection to the sacred. It has been through this graduate work that I have been able to transcend my nursing practice as a maternal child public health nurse to art form. Through the tools of ethnography, research which describes lived experiences, the interconnection of theory and science in human meaning have become manifest. Human contact has evoked language, photography, and poetic story. In conclusion, and in reflection of these cultural relationships, the faces of the marginalized and their stories, I have written the following poem entitled Remembrance. How does one incorporate a texture of living, become the memory songs of the ancestors, the space which transcends language, the speech of the unspeakable in form, the walk side-by-side companion, the heart of the pain and the joy, the energy for the initiation, the endurance and the resilience. How does one become the testing ground, the shadow as the star in the night, the vessel to hold the water, the space for the articulation, the mirror for the transformation, the soft earthen ground for the weary? How does one become the dance of life, the womb of possibility and creativity, the silence for the sigh, the lullaby for the birthing, and the ash for the winged journey? Finally, as Paul Wellstone stated, the future will belong to those who have passion and to those who are willing to make the personal commitment to make our country better. May we remember. Thank you.
Time writing this speech, mostly because I'm in denial. It seems like only yesterday that I was sitting in the chapel, listening to President Frame tell his bumper sticker joke during transfer student orientation. Where has the time gone? Remember the roommates, the fears, the tears, and the nerves, setting up the room and taking it apart all over again. Remember the first guy or gal who caught your eye, the same guy or gal you will remember as your first college crush. Remember trying to keep in touch with high school friends and succeeding until you realized what a phone bill really meant. Remember promising to never change, but then realizing that's an impossible promise to keep when high school is past and you've moved on. Remember those first friends you shared your fears with, who soon became acquaintances. Remember those neighbors and classmates who ended up becoming your closest friends. Remember holding back tears on those days when you just wanted to be home again, to feel safe again. Remember those days you felt you couldn't relate to anyone. You felt you had no place, and just calling home would make it worse. Remember those bonding nights when you never felt closer to a certain person, and how that closeness creates ties that never die. Remember how you never realized the importance of family until you didn't see them every day. Remember telling friends the deepest secrets of your life and knowing they'd remain secrets. Remember the craziness of the dorm, getting sudden bursts of energy, and looking for people, even total strangers, to harass. Remember pulling all-nighters and never thinking they were as bad as they sounded until you actually lived through one. Remember how over breaks you had a chance to step back and really see the friends you made and the memories shared, and you were satisfied. Remember thinking how much your life has changed in just a few months. Remember that dream guy or gal you thought about so much, who when they finally opened their mouth, changed your opinion of them forever. Remember how... Remember the times, never forget them, even the little ones can hold the greatest meaning. Remember to never lose touch with those friends you've made here at Augsburg, because we have all changed and grown enormously together, and that is something very sacred to be shared. Remember, time flies before you realize it, so make it last, make it memorable, make it the best time of your life, and make the best memories that carry with you for the rest of your days. Remember that nothing lasts forever, so never let a day go by without living it to the fullest. Remember to never let a day go by without a laugh. Remember to love the ones you love. Life isn't forever. Remember the laughs. Let them echo in the back of your mind. Remember to love your friends, whether they come, go, love you, or hurt you. Never let anyone go, and always remember, when you leave here today, you are leaving with much more than you walked in here with. God didn't promise days without rain. God didn't promise days without pain, laughter without sorrow, or sun without rain. But he did promise strength for the day, comfort for the tears, and light for the way. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
I want to say thank you to the Augsburg community for asking me to speak. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you here today. It's also a very special day for our family. Laurie, Duncan Mccarthy, and Jack Mccarthy are my future parents-in-law. I'm marrying their son Adam this summer, and it means so much to all of us to share this day together. Faith in my family led me to Augsburg, but it was at Augsburg that I found faith. Faith in myself, faith in the community which surrounds me, and faith in God. This faith was given to me by my family, and by the family which exists here within the Augsburg community. This faith will be a gift I can pass on to the outside world. Augsburg has been a part of my family for 15 years. The first weekend college course I attended was in 1988. I had ridden in a car for 4 hours from Brookings, South Dakota. I was 7 years old. My mother is a graduate of the weekend college program where she obtained her elementary teaching license. It's an honor to follow in my mother's footsteps. My sister is also an Augsburg student. She came to Augsburg at the age of 17, leaving her junior year of high school to become a freshman here. I came to Augsburg in 1998. I had little faith in myself or in God as the result of childhood experiences which had disabled me for a lot of my youth. The major factor in my decision to attend Augsburg was the Step Up program. I was in Step Up for my entire freshman year. Thanks to Step Up, I was able to have the motivation to continue my education despite the numerous roadblocks which I had self-imposed. When I arrived at Augsburg, I had no study skills and very little motivation. This was fueled by my lack of faith in myself. I was hopeless, and I did not think that I could survive in college. The faculty and staff at Augsburg gave me faith that I could succeed. I used to meet weekly with Don Warren, the founder of Step Up, and I remember him looking across his desk and telling me, "I know you can do it." And I did. Jackie DeVries, my advisor in the history department, never questioned the fact that I could succeed. At least she didn't let me know that she did. And she pushed me beyond the limits that I had created for myself. When my son Jacob was born in 1999, I was able to continue my education in the weekend college program while parenting and working full-time to support my son. There is nothing like sitting in an unconditioned classroom for 4 hours on a Saturday afternoon in May. But to be surrounded by so many motivated people sacrificing their time and to continue their education is so inspirational. Because of this fabulous community and the faith that you've given me, I've moved from being a child, barely able to graduate high school, to being a woman who can speak at her college commencement. The community of Augsburg is one of diversity, bound together through faith and through reason. This community is like a family in very many ways. I have watched as we interact with one another, and it is truly inspiring to watch the one-to-one personal interaction that faculty and staff have with their students. To watch a blind man attend his class with a seeing eye dog and always maintain his positive attitude and his dream is a memory that I will always cherish. Watching Step Up, grow, and Augsburg become an example to other colleges is an honor. Seeing a student join the McNair Scholars and be driven to fulfill her potential is awesome. We are truly an amazing community, and together we can pass that on. As graduates of Augsburg, we have the opportunity to have an effect upon the world around us. A wise woman once told me that behind every face I meet, there is a sea of faces. We may not know who we will affect through the ripples of our actions in the world. We must carry with us integrity, honesty, and faith. We have been given a gift, the gift of vocation, finding meaning in our work. We can pass on the gifts we have received from the Augsburg community to the outside world through simple acts such as smiling at our neighbors, voting at every election, and advocating for our children. We have the responsibility and the honor to be a part of the world community. Thank you, Augsburg, for all that you have given me. Because of this institution, I have the drive to succeed above all obstacles. I wish to pass that drive along. My dream is to teach, to be involved in public service, and to give back to the community, which has helped me to become all that I am. You have brightened my future and that of my son. My faith in God and the inherent goodness in humanity has developed here. My dreams for the future are real. Through faith, anything is possible, and the people we touch along the way are the largest gifts of all. You may never know the sea of faces existing beyond the lives that you touch. Thank you, Augsburg, for touching my life, the lives of my family, and the sea of faces beyond each of them.
President Frame, members of the Board of Regents, faculty emeriti, distinguished guests, members of the Augsburg community, alumni, students, family and friends. On behalf of the faculty at Augsburg College, upon whose recommendation these degrees are granted, and in their name, it is my privilege to present the candidates for the degrees Master of Arts in Leadership, Master of Arts in Nursing, Master of Social Work, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Science. Mr. President, in this 134th year of Augsburg College, I present the class of 2003.
Will the candidates for degrees please stand? By virtue of the authority entrusted in me by the faculty and Board of Regents of Augsburg College, and upon nomination of the faculty, I now confer upon you who have completed the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in Leadership, Master of Social Work, and Master of Arts in Nursing. I also say now to those persons with bachelor degrees, by virtue of the authority invested in me by the faculty and Board of Regents and upon nomination by the faculty, I now confer upon you, having completed the requirements, the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Science, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Candidates completing work for their degrees in August or December will likewise come forward with the others, as these degrees are evidence of your successful completion of a college curriculum or an advanced curriculum. May they always serve as reminder that in life the highest aim is truth, and through it, service. Please be seated. You will come forward as directed by the marshals. Dean Kimball will announce the names of the members of the class as they come to the platform. I will be assisted by James E. Hagland, Vice Chair of the Board of Regents of Augsburg College, and we will be assisted by Cheryl J. Leuning, Professor and Chair, Department of Nursing, Lois Bosch, Assistant Professor and Director of the Master of Social Work Program, and Norma Noonan, Professor of Political Science and Director of the Master of Arts in Leadership Program. Now I have my little speech to make, not to you who are graduating, but to those of you who are here in celebration of that fact. There are some here, I will be brief about my little speech this year. There are some here who don't have large gatherings of cheering family and friends. And I wonder whether you might keep them in mind as you consider whether or not to cheer wildly for your family member who's graduating. In other words, we would like you to hold it down if you can at all restrain yourself, in part because we're trying to listen to these names, and one of the great purposes of a graduation ceremony like this is to sound those names out, to read them out, so that the world itself might hear them. And if you're too loud, the world won't hear much of the one following the one that you're cheering for. So if you'd hold it down, we'd appreciate it. And we will get to the work now.
I will begin with the candidates for the degree of the Master of Arts in Leadership. Norma Noonan, Professor of Political Science and Director of the MAL program, will be assisting in placing the hood on each candidate. Ready? Colleen Anita Healy. Stephanie M. Pamir. Douglas J. Miller. Sarah B. Masters. Mark N. Langseth. Congratulations. I will now read the names of candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Nursing. Cheryl Leuning, Professor and Chair of the Department of Nursing, will be assisting in placing the hoods on each candidate. Karen Ackerman. Ray Stiles Ormsby. Jean Marie Gunderson. Sandra J. Leinonen. Deborah K. Brown Schumacher. Patricia Jean Gonzalez. Brenda Ann Becker. Congratulations. I will now read the names of candidates for the degree of the Masters of Social Work. Lois Bosch, Assistant Professor of Social Work and Director of the MSW program, will be assisting in placing the hood on each candidate. Ready. Kathy Borer. Sarah M. Nelson. Ann M. Perrone. Karen Elizabeth Goodenough. Heather L. Younglove. Melissa B. Hansen. Abigail L. Cashman. Caitlin G. Baldwin. Jill D. Boyke. Megan J. Hansen. Olga Achenbach. Carrie P. Neese. Robin M. Hesser. Nicole S. Clark. Katie Ann Louise Tilley. Cassandra A. Weber. Congratulations. I will now read the names of candidates for the degrees Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Science. After reading names of the candidates for the bachelor's degrees, 3 kinds of honors may be announced. First, graduation with distinction. These honors are based on cumulative grade point average, and the completion of an outstanding project is determined by the student's major department. Candidates for graduation with distinction wear cords on their shoulders in the school colors, maroon and gray. Second, graduates who have completed the college's honors program curriculum will be designated honors program graduate, and these honors scholars wear gold cords on their shoulder. And finally, students who have completed special curricular requirements with a high average in their disciplinary area of study will be noted as having received departmental honors. Deborah Ray Everhart. Gretchen Alyssa Osowski. Jennifer Lee Blanchard. Sarah Wilcutt. Carrie E. Stevens. Rebecca Lynn Anderson. Jamie Lynn Mickow. Lucy Therese Sagehorn. Joanne M. Mulder. Jennifer Macy Halfley. Heidi Marie Peterson. Kristen Ann Craning. Andrea Lee Bormet. Sarah K. Haberkorn. Alicia Ann Buer, Emily Catherine Florence, Honors Program. Carly Bernice Krieg, Honors Program. Wanda Mae Johnson. Rebecca Ann Krenzel. Christy L. McMichael. Kristen E. Johnson. Emily Ruth Anfinson. Tiffany Marie Woolner. Jacob Ryan Collins. Dustin William Blankenship. Chad George Scheidel, Honors Program. Darrell Dixon. Carrie Elizabeth Becker. Marissa Renee Mapes. Trevor K. Maestro. Catherine Lee Schwartz. Therese Marie Hoskin. Christy Ray Nelson. Noel Voss. Adam Diesterhalf. Kelly Ann Bringleson. Seth J. Jensen. Jared Lynn Mack. Brianne Bo Dalmas. Sarah Elizabeth Graff. Melissa Marie Bowick. Sarah A. Batt, Honors Program. Jennifer F. Hamill. Elizabeth Elhart. James Leonard Pope. Benjamin F. Duane. Callie Ann Hutchison. Emily Mae Gerard, Departmental Honors Music Performance. Jody Ann Montgomery. Katie Ehlers. James Patrick Van Wert. Casey Ray Larson. Jamie Ryan Williams. Desiree R. Jorgensen, Honors Program. Stacy Ann Overby. Megan Marie Olson. Janet McEthron. Stephen Grande. Brooklyn, Maine. Adam Duncan McWethy, graduation with distinction, Departmental Honors in Psychology. Kristen R. Crabtree. Megan C. Arneson. Janelle K. Johnson. Natasha Ann Thorson. Amanda Ray Stitchen. Courtney Jenkins. Curtis Allen Flugel. Biniam Danielle Abdeda. Kiteso Adam Chiri. Mohammed Essa. Mohammed Hussein. Kavina Nakiwala. George Cornware. Oganyima. Christopher Allen McAtee. Robert Kendall. Russell Eugene Pruitt. Alexandra H. Espinas. Sarah E. Holte. Judith Lynn Steffens. Libby Rose Fairchild. Jennifer Renee Jurlid. Christina A. Justiniano. Bob Ekstrom. Shayna Lazars. Andrew L. Pepper. Carl John Iverson. Eric Roland Brethheim. Nathaniel David Jungerberg. Sarah A. Zerbis. Trinette M. Valley. Andrea M. Paskett. Roberta Rice, graduation with distinction. Casey Chong Tui Kier. Patrick Neil Black. Julie H. Doan. Derek Larson. Kenneth Allen McCann. Cara Alicia Johnson. Julie Ann Cronin. Kirsten Lee Westberg. Brianna Elizabeth Sauer. Tanisha Nicole Williams. Kenesha Nicole Williams. Tennille Marie Russ. Rashonda Nicole White. Laurie Lee Miller, Departmental Honors in Social Work. Margaret Louise Schaefer. Stephanie Mary Pizzolatto. Melissa Williamson Heron. Holly Jo Hornberg. Tammy Yanta. Christopher R. Freeman, Honors Program. Melissa Devon Freeman, Honors Program. Zi Zhang. Jason Hood. Karen M. Kaiser. Heather L.C. Sweeney. Paul A. Baunick. Charles Barton. Julie Elizabeth Brown. Richard J. Dickerson. Angela M. Thorson. Jamie Elizabeth Lemon. Linda Marie Dahlstrom. Richard K. Crone. Matthew Groth. Justin Michael Lehman. Jason D. King. Jerry Ann Meekins. Sarah Rebecca McGinnis. Sandra M. Johnson. Idella Marie Land. Josephine Kelly Martins. Tammy Renee Peterson. Timothy M. Hambley. Kyle William Cusisto. Krista Ray Steiner. M. Scott Smistad. Bridget A. Lane. Melanie Dawn Strain Moberg. Catherine S. Simonson. Michelle Marie Schmidt. Janice Weir Dahlberg. Cale Richard Nearison. Janet Lynn Osland. John Edward Teben. Thomas J. Bramwell. Jonathan Andrew Failer. Paula Sue Pogachnik. Shanna Ray Verhey. Lisa E. Miller. Kari M. Burkholz. Samuel John Gross. James Lawrence Anderson. Jonathan V. Boyk. Derek John Coleman. Lincoln Stephen Langhorst. Nathan Timony Bremseth. James Brew. David M. Franzen. Michael Dana Pontius. Nicholas Dwayne Rathman. Jared E. Lynch. Michael James Iverson. Russell Edward Bauer. Patrick Marsh. Matthew H. Topp. Brooke Sarah Gullickson. Brenda Jean Kuhn. Andrea Mary Spees. Maren Ann Harden. Rebecca Jo Westfield. Katie Lynn Olson. Christine K. Matson. Maggie Jean Lang. Yara Saade. Maria Lee Moreland. Catherine Gabrielle Barth. Carrie Schwartz. Jennifer Lynn Lamanna. Angela Catherine Bryan. Michael Allen Easker. Craig Cusick Jr. Nicole A. Evenson. Tong Suk Silapet. Christina Trung. Asha S. Gear. Emily Brown. Kendra Rand Kuhlman. Maiva Lee. Rose T. Nguyen. Jessica Lynn Hunter, Departmental Honors in Education. Alicia M. West, Departmental Honors in Education. Kari M. Peterson. Lena Zaharova, Graduation with Distinction, Departmental Honors in Economics, Honors Program. Katie M. Peterson. Andrew Dwayne Ager. Lang Nguyen. Hoan Nguyen. Efwe Kwame Akali. Mohammed Nasser. Karen Lynn Magler. Judy Ann Carlson. Kelly Sue Hubbard. Juliana Maria Martinez Fajardo. Juliano Victoria Martinez Harris. Natalia Pretel Agudelo. Linda Joyce Visenor. Linda G. McElmurray, Sherry A. Christ, Heather J. Feehan, Janice Lynn Jacobson, Lisa Marie Ebel, Orion Wisness, Katie Sather, Susan Ray Lusheen, Renee Deanne Beneke, Joshua Paul Dale, Timothy Jordan, Rebecca King, Arlana Pierre, Mary Ellen Goplin, Stacy Josephine Stromback, Patricia Lorraine Engstrom, Inga Teresa Hillier, Jennifer Marie Bishop, Jennifer Ann Waldriff, Caroline Ann Arpin, Deborah Marie Hillier, Courtney Brooke Helio Goodmanson, Andrew Peter Gadient, Emily Wood, Lorraine Ebnett, Michael D. Loney, Christine Diane Wabshall, Christopher Paul York, Zachariah William Schnedler, Nick Peters, Paul Michael Peterson, Michael J. Coleman, Patrick Francis Loftus, Sherry Ann Parento, Patrick McGrath Brooks, graduation with distinction, departmental honors in philosophy. Catherine M. Nielsen, graduation with distinction, departmental honors, sociology. Sarah Elizabeth Ager, Carrie Lynn Lundstad Vogt, Lauren Rachel Martineau, Matthew Emil Heasterman, Brian David Bew, graduation with distinction. Margaret Chiri, Kari Elizabeth Lucen, honors program. Linnea Teresa Heimerdinger, Jacob Westendorp, Sandra Jean Sapersky, Robin Ardell Obrasky, Sarah Marie Hedstrom, Charles T. Vroman, Rochelle Lynn Tate, Brian Joseph Lane, Stacy Catherine Brandt, Jean Marie Radetsky, James A. Quicksell, Robin Maureen Weinkauf Boltman, Aaron Michael Kolb, Adam Richard Donnell, Ryan Patrick Donnell, Hugo Conciliano, Yaroslav Chesky, Aaron Michael Panchok, Joshua Peter Jetron, Brad K. Holzinger, Bradley P. Keogh, Paul Edward Putt, Peter John Samarja, Nicholas Von Fisher, Sean Harold Smith, Jonathan Lizmaki, Robert Victor Nickel, graduation with distinction, Departmental Honors in Economics and Business Administration. Christopher John Bolstad, Danny Wayne Storm, Eric A. Nitty, Sean Donnelly, Nathan D. Johnson, Stephen James Markworth, Nancy A. Baker, graduation with distinction, Departmental Honors in English. Brenda Dawn Phillips, Tracy Joe Howard, Mary Jo Peterson, Eileen Flaherty House, graduation with distinction, Departmental Honors in Chemistry. Elizabeth Anchiri, Jill J. Anderson, Cynthia Dawson, Departmental Honors in MIS. Colin C. Davis, Adam Vorderbruggen, Kimberly Ann Glumich, Laura Elizabeth Grant, Erin Marie Carlson, graduation with distinction, Departmental Honors in Theater Arts, Honors Program. Kelly Nelson, Christopher John Tilleras, Chase M. Runyon, Donald Craig Price Hunter, Maximilian J. Marcy, Sterling P. Donnelly, Michael Boudreau, Benjamin Brinkup, David Edward Singleton, A. Galen Wood, Janessa Lynn Byer, Matthew John Pauley, Christina T. Markwood Rod, Megan Mathia Peterson Kindom, Rachel Ellen Schutte, Krista Lynn Young, Honors Program, Melissa A. Matson, John Fix, Charles Martin Paulson, Kellen Vaughn Bradison, graduation with distinction, Departmental Honors Political Science, Honors Program. Bradley John Model, Grant Holden Jordahl, Honors Program. Christian M. Shada, Andrew Thomas Setzman, Taylor Edward Yost Pettis, Melissa Schreier, Kelly Renee Fisher, Samantha L. Campbell, Becky Lynn Vonderow, Donna Reed Kuhlman, Brian J. Gallus, Mark Edward Hokinson, Mike E. Dawson, Tiffany Julian Black, Jessica Lynn Mabin, Jolene K. Linkert, Elizabeth J. Lalick, Dean Adolph Schumann II, Christopher W. Houston, Laura Jane Snyder, Laura Brown, Yvonne M. Andert Wilkin, Janine Marie Ennen Kruger, Jason Paul Bumgartner, Angela Christine Foster, Derek James Heyerdahl, Samantha Michelle Kronschnabel, Matthew Joseph Shapee, Jennifer Rome Lemke, Michelle Lynn Anderson, Andrew David Miller, Jason M. Tiemann, Chad C. Kuchmarek, Zachary J. Clawitter, Sean Donovan Anderson, Andrew Folks, John Matthias Friedrichs II, Perry Lon Smith, Francis Dean, Brian William Luck, Bonnie Joy McPherson, Michelle Linda Maidenwalt, Catherine Nelson Miller, Penny Jill Stadema, Robert J. Lillidahl, Nathan Gaudette, Brian K. Nathanson, Colleen M. Lorge, Stacy McWilliams, Brian Hartman, Nathan Dean Erickson, Stacy Lynn Funk, Honors Program, Amy Funk, Thomas Andrew Kingston, Matthew A. Christensen, Kristen Lucille Opolinski, Laura Elizabeth McGowan, Rebecca Marie Perotti, Anthony Michael Quantz, Amanda Svedich, Brent Blankenberg, Mindy Marie Reese, Katie Robin Savold, Brent Russell Stoley, graduation with distinction. Is that it? Congratulations.
Yeah, this class has required more attention on the shouting stuff than its friends and relatives. But that's a sign of vitality, and we enjoy it. And we certainly do, in fact, respect you deeply and for all you've done for us. I felt as many times as you passed me here to say thank you rather than congratulations. But we do, in fact, appreciate deeply the curiosity with which you've inspired us, the questions you've put to us, the fact that you came here at all and cared enough to stay and developed a certain warmth, we hope, in behalf of this place. There are several people that I want to have you attend to for a moment, but I think before that I'll ask Andy Morrison, who is the chair of the Alumni Board, to speak to you a moment about the new membership you've just accomplished, which is in the Alumni Association of Augsburg College. Andy?
Welcome. You did it. I've had a chance to talk to many students this past week, and everybody seemed to say the same thing over and over to me. I can't believe it's over. A whirlwind, finals, saying goodbye to friends, saying goodbye to faculty, goodbye to staff, packing up, thinking about the future. I just want to add one more thought before you walk out today. As of now, this moment, you are an Augsburg alumni. Welcome to the group. Welcome to the community. 30 years ago, I sat where you sat, graduating. I had the distinct honor that year to spend a rather cold winter month in January in Russia with Dr. Noonan. 30 years later, Dr. Noonan had a small lecture. The alumni got together, went to the St. Petersburg restaurant, had a wonderful Russian dinner, and talked about what happened in Russia over the last 30 years. It was wonderful to go back, meet alumni, talk to professors, learn something, and at the end, there was no finals. 30 years ago, the Delta House and the Omega House got together before we graduated and had a party. Very formal dinner. Last Christmas, 30 years later, the same people got together and had a Christmas dinner. We've been getting together once or twice a year for 30 years. When I turned 21, a group of us with the same birth dates went out and celebrated our birthdays together. When I turned 50, my freshman roommate, who had the same birthday the same week I did, called me and said, let's get together. We got the group back, and those who couldn't show up, we called. 30 years later, the connection to Augsburg still stands strong. Stay connected. Stay connected with us. As you journey through life, send us your email. Let us know where you are. I can tell you as an alumni, when you get the alumni magazine, the first thing you do is go to class notes and see what your fellow classmates did. Keep us informed. There's lots to do. There'll still be theater, still be music, still be Vespers. There'll still be Augie conversation hours. Stay in touch so we can tell you what's going on, so you can keep part of the Augsburg community. Several years from now, when you've found your vocation, come back to Augsburg. Share your story, your life journeys with students. Mentor a student. Give something back to the college. When you talk to people, tell them about Augsburg. Tell about the program, the diversity, the type of people, and the faith we have in the school. If you know someone who might go to college, tell them about Augsburg. Stay connected. Chris Kimball, the Dean Kimball, said something yesterday I thought we should reflect on. Commencement doesn't mean the end. Commencement can mean the beginning. You are now beginning your life as an Augsburg alumni. You've made it. Congratulations. Stay connected. Let us know where you are. I hope to see you later. Thank you.
I wonder if I could put before you who are graduating today some of those who've helped with the effort. And that includes, I think, most of all, well, I don't know about most of all. Well, let me try this out on you, okay? What I'd like to do is to ask the regents of the college to stand right now, and if they wouldn't mind, just stay there for a second. It won't take long. I'd like to ask the faculty to stand and to say as they do so that 3 of their number are leaving us this year into the great, wonderful world of retirement. Grace Sularud, Esther McLaughlin, and Satya Gupta. And I'd like to ask the staff who are here to stand, and then to ask you who are staff members and wearing a rose, meaning you're involved in some fashion in this graduation ceremony, either directly or indirectly, to stand. And couldn't I ask you then, as graduating folk, to say thanks to these people? They've all had something to do. And then I wonder whether I couldn't ask you to stand and say thanks to all of those that in your minds have made a difference for you here. Your families, your friends, the faculty, the staff, the regents. I wonder if you might not just sort of stand up and sound out all that enthusiasm. Yeah. Thank you very much. Really, genuinely, thank you for all you've done for us, for all you brought here, for all you're leaving here, and for all you're sending back. You heard Mr. Morrison, I hope, with some care. Before we sing this last hymn, and journey out, I will tell you that we've made the decision, because of our negotiating power being a bit weak with the man upstairs, that we're going to have our reception in the Christensen Center. So we're going to walk through whatever wind is still out there, straight up, and back into the building from which all of these enrobed people up here in the front emanated in the first place. That's where we'll do our receiving and congratulating of you. So, with that, I think we're ready for our hymn, and please stand for that, after which we will have a benediction from our pastor, David Wold.
Like to leave you with the memory of an old white-haired guy giving something at the end. I want to tell you that you're not only going to be contending with wind, I've been told there's a little rain out there as well. And we would ask that all people remain in their places until the entire company has recessed. That would be first the platform party, then the faculty, and then the graduates. Receive the benediction. Like a rock, God is under our feet. Like a roof, God is over our heads. Like the horizon, God is beyond us. Like water in a pitcher, God is within us and in the pouring out of us. Like a pebble in the sea, we are in God. So let us now go out in hope, in humor, in joy, and in peace, and change our world as God has changed our lives. In Christ's name, amen.